dark fragrances. So you want fragrances that are heavy, intense, kind of smoldering, you know. I've compiled a small list of fragrances that are pretty much that. They're pretty dark and heavy. And as always, all the fragrances that I mentioned will be available down in the Amazon Associate links down in the description below. I'm going to start with, arguably, at least to me, I think one of the kind of darkest and most intense fragrances I've come across, which is Ambre Sultan from Serge Lutens. The thing about this is actually unisex, although it's very masculine in how it smells. This is a pure resin type of fragrance. It has your typical amber, but it also has some myrrh in it. It has, one of the notes just says resins, so it's just a collection of different resins. Things like that. There's some myrtle. It's this very exotic, just smoky, resinous type of fragrance. Kind of balsamic as well, just like thick, heavy tone to it. This is not for everyone, just because it's super intense. There's no sweetness at all. It's really all about those resins, and it kind of has a little bit of a frankincense smell to it, even though frankincense isn't an official note that it has. But in general, this is pretty strong. About 8 hours, 7 to 8 hours of longevity, and definitely for colder weather or for evening wear. You don't want to wear this when it's hot outside. You'll kind of melt, and it won't smell very good. But yeah, again, in cold weather and the evening, this is where it shines, because it's definitely one of those mysterious, heavy, intense types of fragrances. And yeah, definitely very unique. I haven't come across anything that really smells similar to this. So if you're looking for something way off the beaten path, not mainstream, more niche, very unique, this is a good option for that. Now another one, which is kind of niche, which I think is not as heavy as Ambre Sultan, but still pretty heavy. Incident Diplomatique from Jovoy here. This is more of a vetiver fragrance, but it's a pretty heavy vetiver fragrance. Vetiver is, you know, kind of earthy, grassy, woodsy. And there's actually two types of vetiver in here. There's Haitian vetiver, and then I think Java vetiver, kind of blended together. And there are some other notes, of course, but those vetiver notes are the main ones that shine through and stick around. So definitely has that intense earthiness, and definitely a very natural smelling type of fragrance. Very much like you're in a forest somewhere, just that rustic, rugged smell to it. That I think is very nice. This is more versatile than the Serge Lutens fragrance, mainly just because it's not quite as heavy. You could definitely wear this during the daytime, during the evening, during slightly warmer weather. Not too hot weather, but yeah. But definitely very versatile. This is also a unisex option, I believe. And it's more of a true unisex, I would say. But definitely very, very nice if you're looking for more of a pure vetiver option. And it does the vetiver note really well, I think. But moving on from this one, if you want something a little bit more smoldering and mysterious, then I would say Tobacco Color from Dior. This is probably one of my favorite tobacco fragrances, and there are a lot of tobacco fragrances out there, but this one is one of my favorites just because it's intense without being too crazy. It's a unisex option as well. The thing about this is that the tobacco is very smooth. It has that smooth, warm smokiness to it, instead of something too strong or too harsh or too sharp. And really good longevity. This is an 8 to 9 hour fragrance for the most part. Really good projection. Definitely more of an evening fragrance or a winter fragrance, just because it's super, super warm. But it's also very much a luxurious type of fragrance. You know, I wouldn't want to wear this just going to the grocery store. I would want to save this for more of a special occasion sort of thing. But definitely really good if you want something really, really warm, very reminiscent of smoke and kind of fire and crackling embers. This is one of the closest options you can get to that. And in general, it's just a very appealing type of fragrance for those who, are open to those heavier types of options. Then, moving on from this one, kind of more of a mainstream option. This is Dior Homme Intense. I really like this one. This is kind of a blend of musk and iris. Now, there are quite a few different versions of Dior Homme that use the iris, but I think this one does it best because the iris is really counteracted by the musk mallow note that it has. So the iris does add a little bit of sweetness, but in general, this is more of a slightly earthy, slightly woodsy, and musky type of fragrance. Very masculine, very long lasting, definitely intense as the name of this fragrance implies. And even though it is more of a mainstream, Dior fragrance, I still think it's pretty unique, especially with that iris note coming in, blending with the musk, that sort of thing. It's pretty strong. It'll last most of the day or most of the evening. It's also pretty versatile. I would say it's more of an evening fragrance, but you could wear this during the daytime, just depending on, the weather or the season. Not a summertime fragrance, but excluding summer, you could wear this for most of the year. It has that kind of amorphous ability to kind of blend in with most of the seasons. Then the last one that I have is from Creed, Royal Oud. Now, this is a good option if you want an oud fragrance that's not too crazy on the oud, but still, intense enough. This is a pretty warm, solid, musky, woodsy type of fragrance. And it kind of reminds me of just mahogany, like a big slab of mahogany or an old writing desk, solid wood, just that raw grain. It has a very authentic woodsy smell, which I quite like. And at the same time, again, it's not going too crazy on the oud because sometimes oud fragrances they're so strong they don't even smell good anymore. But this does it really well, smooths it out. Really long lasting actually, probably 7-8 hours, more on 8 hours. And it's just a nice oud option, especially if you're either new to oud or maybe you're not a big fan of oud but you want to try to get into it. So Royal Oud is definitely a good option for that. Being from Creed as well, very high quality fragrance. But that is pretty much my list of these kind of dark, brooding type of fragrances. So hopefully you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. If you did, of course, you can leave a like, maybe subscribe, and I make videos throughout the week, so stick around for those.